The Honourable Barbara Edmonds.
To the Minister of Finance, does she stand by her statement about the budget that, quote, wages are forecast to grow faster than the inflation rate, making wage earners better off on average in real terms, unquote? If so, what is the effect on wage growth over the forecast period of removing the $12.8 billion from future pay equity claims?
Well, Mr Speaker, in answer to the first part of the question, yes, and that is borne out by the budget documents. And to the second part, I don't agree with the member's characterisation. In the budget, $12.8 billion was removed from contingencies put aside to meet potential pay equity settlements under the previous regime that were expected to be wide-ranging and increasingly divorced from actual sex-based discrimination. Those settlements may or may not have happened, and adequate funding remains in contingency to meet potential costs of future public sector pay equity settlements under our new regime. On that basis, compared to the half-year update, I'm advised that wage growth is forecast by Treasury to be slightly lower across the forecast period because of pay equity and macroeconomic changes, and slightly higher because of investment boost. Overall wage growth is expected to be slightly lower but starts from a higher base, meaning that actual wages in dollar terms, which is what really matters to New Zealanders, are expected to be higher right across the forecast period compared to the half-year update.
Supplementary. What does she say to Dame Marilyn Waring, former Member of Parliament for the National Party, who says, quote, we want to know why such a large number of women who are not well paid become the collateral damage of balancing the budget, unquote.
Before we get an answer, can I say to the member who interjected during a question, do that again and it'll be a very early afternoon from the exit from the House. Honourable Nicola Willis.
Well, I would say to that individual that she mischaracterises the nature of the government's approach to pay equity, and she should listen less to the misleading statements from the other side of the House. This government is upholding pay equity with a workable, affordable, sustainable pay equity regime in law. We have also put aside funding for what we anticipate will be future settlements.
Supplementary. What does she say to Rosie Thompson, a 33-year-old elderly support worker who says that the changes to pay equity make me feel so undervalued, it makes me feel like quitting, but I actually love my job. We've been waiting for this pay rise forever, and this is just absolute BS.
Well, what I would say to that person is your work is very much valued by this government, and I think valued by all New Zealanders. And you can anticipate that, just like other workers across the country, when you enter bargaining, whether via a collective bargaining process or through an individual employment process, that you will be able to bargain for increases according to your wages and conditions. And at the same time, if you as an employee or your union wish to lodge a pay equity claim, the law will allow you to do so.
Supplementary. Does she agree with Fiona Archer, a retired support worker, who says, quote, I have fought my whole life for equitable treatment of women, and I cannot believe we're having to do this again, unquote?
Well, Mr Speaker, I would say to that individual that if they have a pay equity claim which has merit, in which they are able to demonstrate sex-based discrimination, then the law allows them to negotiate a settlement.
You actually stopped them being able to...
Enough. The member's trying to ask a question, so just hold back a little bit.
Supplementary.
The Honourable Barbara Edmonds.
Does she agree with Dame Judy McGregor, a former Human Rights Commissioner, that, quote, I think this is a cruel abuse of human rights, and I think the government will pay for it. I don't think women will take this lying down, unquote?
Mr Speaker, no.
Supplementary. How can she say she is committed to pay equity when many working women across this country disagree with her and instead believe they are paying the price for her budget decisions?
That's right.
Well, Mr Speaker, the facts are this. The government has legislated a pay equity regime in law. The fact that members opposite are choosing to continue to tell New Zealanders that not only has the government removed equal pay, that we're also cutting women's wages and that pay equity has been eliminated is not my responsibility, but I would caution members to be careful about the statements they make to New Zealanders and the veracity of those statements, because boys who cry wolf don't get listened to.